Here's the Subaru WRX. It's an 02. I got this thing together about 6 weeks ago, and a few weeks back I was gonna go to a buddy's house and have an estimate done to get all the bubbles taken out of this and repainted and cleared. So I'm getting off on the highway over by his house and noticed that I got a tick 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 coming from the driver's head. So figured it was just lifter tap. So I pulled the head or the valve cover off and checked the clearance on all my buckets. A couple of them were out very slightly, nothing to cause concern or anything that would make too much noise. So I just went ahead and put some thicker buckets in there and closed up the gaps and tightened up the clearances, put everything back together. The noise got louder. And when I mean louder, I mean out on startup, you fire it up, it starts tapping almost instantly. So it's almost like tightening up the clearance put a bigger gap somewhere, which doesn't make any sense. So brought it to work. I was just gonna pull the head and look at the valves, make sure that they were seating and not clipping the edge of the valve seat. But so I had to get the valve cover off to get the head bolts out and all that. So I started taking it all apart. And the easy way to get the timing apart and make sure you're not gonna, smack your valves on your pistons is inside your spark plug holes. You could put an extension in there, and you would, put one in here. If it's all the way out, rotate the crank until it starts, going back down inside, and then see if the other side evens out. As long as both sides, if you put that extension in and it's even on both sides, then your pistons are sitting in the middle of the cylinder wall, and you won't have any problem taking the cams spinning on you when you take the timing apart, and you won't run into anything getting broken. So in order to do all that, you got to pull the spark plugs out. So I pulled the spark plugs out, and it had these in it. Let me get a better look. Okay, now if you look, it says assembled in the US with foreign content. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. So I'm going to set my phone down. I'm going to show you what I found on this plug here. Is the one that came out of the cylinder that was making noise. Check this out. The porcelain rotates freely like a bearing. So what happened, I know the picture's probably upside down, but what I assume happened is, your plug is screwed in, your porcelain is loose, okay? Now, when your coil pack goes on, the rubber pushes over this, and then you have a 12mm bolt that tightens the pack into the side of the, or into the valve cover on top of the head. So that puts pressure down on this porcelain, okay? What happens is when your cylinder has combustion and it goes through its cycle, it almost acts as fast as a valve opening and closing. So as soon as it combusts, it pushes this porcelain out and it clacks. That's exactly the noise I was having. So if it's screwed in, And inside the engine, it sounds like valve train. Sounds like a lifter tapping. So if you have a Subaru and you have lifter tap noise, check your spark plugs for play. I'm assuming that these were some cheap eBay Denso replicas. They're just junk. I've been through this twice. First time I put the buckets in, didn't change it. Second time right now, I'm getting ready to pull the head and end up finding that the spark plugs are the problem. So make sure if you buy spark plugs for your Subaru, or any car for that matter, you're getting them from a reputable source, not eBay, not Amazon. Get yourself good spark plugs, or else you'll be spending 4 or 5 times the money to get your stuff fixed. So, assembly happening today, putting it back together, should fix the problem.